Want to introduce Kyle Filipowski. Obviously, he's been on the national stage for a long time with his basketball career. We're really excited to have a guy of his caliber, character, talent, size. Couldn't be more thrilled to have him be part of the Jazz. Welcome, and want to introduce, and any questions that I can answer, or Kyle, let's kick it off.
Kyle, we only talked to you a little bit, but what's the most exciting part about joining the Jazz in particular, and what do you what do you like about this organization as a fit for your game?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just excited to be surrounded by these people. I think it's a great organization filled with very welcoming set of group, and it's a young group. It's a group that's ready to learn, ready to put in the time and energy, and I'm just excited to be part of that process with them.
Kyle, Dana Green with ABC4. You obviously were hoping to be drafted on day one. How are you going to use that as motivation? Isaiah talked a little bit about that as well, of with a chip on their shoulder. You kind of mentioned that draft night. Can you channel that maybe frustration in trying to prove people wrong?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I think that's kind of been who I am my whole life, to be honest, is kind of a guy that's overlooked. And so just having this be another one of those situations, of course, that's going to add more motivation for myself to just prove those other people wrong. But, most importantly, what I'm most excited about, though, is, even though it was day 2 that I got picked, I'm just excited for being picked to the right place I believe I fit best at.
What are you expecting, and what are you hoping to show in Summer League? It starts real quick.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I got no idea. I'm of course I'm a rookie, and I'm just kind of looking forward to soaking it all up, learning as much as I can from all the guys around me, and just trying to grow from it however I can.
When you look at
You're not going to introduce yourself?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Kyle doesn't know who you are. That's Tony.
Kyle, that's my fault.
All right, nice to meet you, Tony.
I'm Tony Jones from The Athletic. When you look at your skill set, just kind of playing, near the basket, facing the basket, away from the basket, how do you feel like that translates to the league, and, what are some of the things that, you wanted to show in the pre-draft process in terms of that?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with that is the spacing in the NBA. I think my game kind of suits that better than obviously all the congestion in college basketball. But I mean, to be honest, I'm just going to try to use that skill set I have any way I can, however the coaches need me to, whatever way that is, whether it is playing more perimeter or more inside. I think just because of the way the NBA is played, I'm able to do whatever it is that the coaches will want.
Kyle, Sarah Todd, Deseret News. Are you going to be wearing number 22?
I am, yes.
Is there a reason that you chose that number?
I mean, I wore that number a few times growing up, so it's I already got a level of comfortability with it. But I think it's a good new beginning for me coming here into the Jazz.
And then the second question is for both of you, but Kyle first. There's been some comparisons between you and Kelly Olynyk's game, kind of being like a secondary playmaker that can work at the high post, that sort of thing. How do you feel about that comparison? Yeah,
I mean, obviously Kelly Olynyk's had an incredible career, and he's a really great player. I think that's a great comparison, and at the same time, I think there's always other comparisons you can make, no matter who it is. So, but I think the most important thing is just trying to be myself, be myself out there, and not feel confined to any limits.
I mean, kind of the same question for you, Justin, but
Yep.
Along those lines, is having a player like that, after seeing what Kelly could do with this team, is
Sure.
that important?
I mean, having guys, you guys talk to Will all the time, and he talks about a lot of things, but the main things he talks about, we don't play free minutes, and you need to move the ball. So having players that like to pass, that can pass, gives you a really good base to grow your game. I think Kyle has a skill set that has a chance to him to differentiate and him to become his own guy. But starting with liking to pass, understanding the game, knowing how to play, having size, and being able to dribble, pass, and shoot, like it's a good start. It's a good start.
Hey, Kyle. Ryan Miller from KSL.com. I'm just curious, what have the conversations been like with like Coach Hardy or Justin since being drafted?
Yeah, I mean, obviously everything's been crazy, so we haven't gotten that much time to talk. But what it's, the basis of what it's been pretty much is just trying to come in here, learn as much as I can, feel like this is a new home for me. They want to make me feel welcomed, and they're doing a great job of that. And just coming in, being ready to work hard and learn every day.
Along those lines, what is the process of like getting implemented into a team?
Probably been a whirlwind for you. Right?
Yeah. I mean, obviously there's a lot of meetings, a lot of new people you're meeting. Trying to find a new place to live. Obviously, you're just trying to start a new life here, and I mean, I think the best thing you can do with that is just enjoy it and embrace it all. Like I said, I'm super happy to be here, so just kind of enjoying this process.
Hey, sorry, I didn't introduce myself. I'm Andy Larson, Salt Lake Tribune. But these questions are for Jay-Z instead, who does know me.
Thank you, Andy.
We didn't get the chance to talk to you about Kyle's drafting after the second day of the draft. So can I just ask, first of all, why Kyle was a pick at number 32?
I mean, I couldn't. Our entire staff couldn't really believe that he was there. I think there was a lot of things with the draft in general. It being pretty flat, of having a number of players that probably didn't expect to go where they went. Frankly, it was a very, very easy choice for us. He was someone we really wanted, and I mean, we basically ran to the podium when our pick was up. So he doesn't know that until right now, but we were thrilled. And I think he mentioned it a little bit, but we talk a lot about it. Okay, you're drafted, and maybe it didn't go the way you wanted to as far as number or expectation, but finding the right place and finding the place to begin your career. Now, I don't care if you're the first pick, your 32nd pick. It's like now you got to find out if you're good, and then all that stuff just goes away. So giving him a platform to have him become the best player he can be, that's our jobs.
And then, not specific to Kyle, but what kind of role do you expect the G League to play in the development of all three guys that you drafted?
Yeah, I mean, I thought you saw great examples last year. I'm not putting any expectations of where this is. We have a very, very young group, but you saw a few different paths last year where, Taylor Hendricks spent the first half of the season basically playing 35 minutes a night because he needed to play. Keontae George, came off the bench and played with our squad for most of the season outside of injury. And Bryce, took a little longer. So every situation is unique based on their skill set, how much they played, injuries, things like that. So with Kyle, I think being open to everything, but his skill set allows him to give him an opportunity to be able to connect with other players very quickly. So what he does with that and how he integrates, no matter where he starts, but we'll get him better for sure.
Kyle, do you have any previous relationship with any of the Jazz players or your fellow rookies?
Yeah, so the one player is Keontae. Played with him at USA when we played on the 3-on-3 team, and we went over to Hungary and we won a gold medal there. So that's the one guy I've known for quite a bit of time now.
And having played at such a high-profile school like Duke, probably not the most liked program when you go on the road, right? Is that going to help prepare you maybe for life in the NBA eventually?
I would like to think so, yes. I mean, obviously, I'm not really sure what to expect with the NBA and the environments at the games and stuff. I'm sure that's very different. But in terms of best preparation for a college program, I think Duke did a really good job with that for my mindset.
Kyle and Jeff Rennie with Fox 13. You're an East Coast guy. What's been your impressions of Utah? Have you been here before? And your short time here in Salt Lake City?
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty much my first time here. I mean, I was here a couple of weeks ago when I came to work out. But yeah, no, this is pretty much my first time being in the Mountain West area. So it's very different sites. But I mean, it already gives off such great energy to me, and just seeing the environment. You know, I'm very happy being here and just looking for a place to live.
Kyle, David Locke, Jazz Radio. I watched your game against Baylor and Boston College, so that's my wealth of knowledge. That's it. Apologize. But two things that jumped out to me. One is in the Baylor game, you switched a ton and handled it pretty well. Do you think you're maybe better at that than the scouting reports gave you credit for?
I definitely would say so, and I think that's just the confidence I have in myself and just all the work I've done these past couple of years at Duke with my defense, and you know, I think I did a much better job with switching my sophomore year than my freshman year. So yeah.
And the second one was a very low dribble at times, which is hard for 7-footers. What have you done to try to develop that?
You said low dribble, yeah. I mean, just working on that as much as I can, to be honest. Obviously, you gotta put yourself in uncomfortable positions to get more comfortable with it. And if I wanted to have that ability from my coaches to let me handle the ball, then I had to be really good at it, and I had to give them a reason to let me keep handling it, and that's obviously by not turning the ball over. So you know, that's what I want to do. So I had to keep working hard at that.
The finisher of this is good.
Thank you.
Hey, Kyle, Craig Bowlerjack, Jazz TV. With all the youth this franchise has now, leadership is going to be, you know, at a premium. That's what they're going to definitely need. I'm curious, playing at Duke, which has such a high esteem in college basketball, how does that translate in leadership and what you learned at Duke, and how you can translate that into your NBA career?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I learned during my time at Duke is that, you know, everyone is different, and everyone, I believe, should be coached differently or you know, just talked to differently. There's some guys that, you know, you may need to let them lean on you a little bit more. Other guys you can get in their face. But so I think just kind of knowing who you're dealing with and creating a connection with them is kind of what I learned at Duke, and just how to best handle that. But you know, at the same time, just doing whatever's necessary of me. I'm not going to try to force myself into any role that's not needed. You know, I'm going to do what's required of me and just do the best job at that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Guys, thanks for being here. Want to introduce Cody Williams. We as an organization are super excited to have him join us. His talent, his character, comes from a great family, and I know he's excited to get to work. Got a little bit of work in today, right? And we're just super excited to have him. So looking forward for you guys to get to know him, and they'll probably go easy on you, I would think, your first one. But I'm here to help.
I got you.
And so let's open it up to questions.
Cody, for Jazz fans that maybe not be too familiar with your game, what do you think you're going to bring this organization, and what do you think the expectations of you for this rookie season?
I think the biggest thing is just versatility, especially to this, you know, young core that we have. I think the biggest impact I can make is on the defensive end. You know, we were going through practice today, and we pulled up the numbers. You know, 30th in 3-point, you know, attempts allowed, 30th like defensive percentage in the league last year. So I feel like me coming in, especially as a rookie, with my length and my size, and you know, my versatility, the biggest thing I can bring is, you know, on the defensive end. So it's kind of my focus.
Hey, Cody, welcome to Salt Lake. Curious, 19, that seems to be the norm now for young players in the league. But how important is it for you to maybe lean on your brother a little bit just to make the transition from college to the NBA? And what have you already learned maybe from him in this process?
Yeah, I definitely learned on him a lot, especially, you know, just how to handle certain situations, how it was for him going through, you know, his rookie year. But, you know, now I can also lean on my teammates. I can lean on guys like, you know, Keontae, who, you know, was a rookie last year. So he was in my shoes. So I can kind of, you know, especially on my team, guys I see every day, I kind of go towards them and ask them for advice. But I've definitely leaned on Jalen too.
Shout out to the brother right over there. In the
Shout out to the brother right there.
Hey, Cody. Ryan Miller from KSL.com. I'm just curious, what has been the last, 5 days now been like for you after being drafted?
It's kind of a blur, to be honest, especially because, it's a quick turnaround. I just had my first practice. So there's only, like, certain parts I feel like you remember. You remember big things. Like, I remember getting my name called. I remember being with my family. I remember going out to dinner with them and eating. And I really remember enjoying that experience, which was a big thing for me just because, as soon as that draft is over, it's like, it's a business now and it's go time. So, it's definitely, like, went by in a flash, but I definitely enjoyed, the whole little 5 days in New York.
Sarah Todd, Deseret News. I'm sure that you saw a lot of stuff that was happening throughout the whole draft process, and there was a lot of people that were, I guess, curious about, on your low volume of shooting, if the percentages were real. What was kind of your reaction to seeing that?
It didn't really have an effect on me just because I know the type of player I am, and I know what I bring to my team in Colorado and also what I'm going to bring to the Utah Jazz. So, whatever really people think. I feel like the most important thing is, the guys right here, like people like Will Hardy, Danny Ainge, the guys that have faith and believe in me. My teammates now who have faith and, believe in my abilities. So that's really the biggest thing to me.
Cody, Tony Jones from The Athletic. What can you take from your experience at Colorado, to help you with the translation to the NBA? And, what were some of that experience, especially with KJ and Tristan, that you could take from playing with them to your translation to the league?
I think the biggest thing is just the adjustment period, just because I had a little bit of adjustment period and going, from high school to Colorado. And, it's going to be the same way going from college to the NBA. There's going to be a little adjustment period. So kind of just embracing that, making mistakes and learning along the way, especially, I'm coming in here 19. So, for me, just really embracing getting better every day, being open to coaching, and obviously, putting in work outside of practice or outside of the lifts. So for me, that's the biggest thing. And then I learned a lot from those guys. Learned a lot from Tad, like, terminology that we use here. A lot of it we use in Colorado, so I feel like I'm kind of up to speed in that aspect. So, those guys really showed me a lot, and it helped obviously translate to the NBA level.
And the altitude.
And the altitude, yeah. No, I felt that today, for sure. So
Welcome back.
Yeah.
Hey, Cody. I'm Andy Larson from the Salt Lake Tribune. Good to meet you. When we talked to you after the draft, it was right after you drafted, and you hadn't had the chance really to talk to Will or talk to Justin or the front office yet. What have those conversations been like in the last few days, and kind of what have you learned from the early talks with them?
Just, here to get to work. Now really the draft, where you got drafted, where you came from, none of that really matters at this point. So now it's about, Utah basketball and really buying in every day and getting better. I think the biggest thing they told me was just continue to work hard, push myself to the next level. They say, I have an extra gear where I can work even harder and, learn from guys, like Keontae, Colin Sexton, Laurie, Kessler, the guys who, are putting in extra work and have made huge jumps. So for them, it was like really soak up all the knowledge that they're giving you and like find that extra gear to, work even harder.
Have you, are you, when the schedule comes out, are you going to be circling the OKC games?
I might circle one or two,
We get them 4 times.
Yeah, we'll get them a couple times, but yeah. Definitely take it one game at a time, and then when that game, pops up, we'll deal with it. So
What's playing like your brother growing up been like? Like, are you guys ultra competitive? Either of you go easy on each other?
never go easy. You don't get better that way. So it's definitely super competitive. I think the biggest thing is just because how close our relationship is, we can, go at each other 100%, and there'll be no backlash, no hard feelings afterwards. So we're just trying to get each other better on the court.
What are you hoping to show at summer leagues?
For me, it's just learning. I'm not really going into summer league with like, I want to do this, I want to do that. For me, it's like, all right, I want to go into summer leagues and be my first kind of, games playing in the NBA. I want to learn everything I can. Obviously, I want to perform well. But for me, I just want to, go out there and enjoy the experience. Obviously, show out in the defensive end. That's kind of been my focus, just learn the terminology. But for me, it's really like a learning experience, and just any way I can get better, any knowledge I can get from summer league, and take that, into this upcoming season. That's my plan.
Dana Green, ABC4. You weren't here at the Huntsman Center, right, when Colorado played here, or did you play in that game?
No, I fractured my orbital before that game, yeah.
What are your kind of first impressions then of Salt Lake City? What do you know about Jazz fans and the passion that they bring to that arena every night?
I know they're crazy passionate. I think we're talking about it's like 290 games, maybe 291 consecutively sold out. So I already know the energy they're going to bring every single game. Every game, here it feels like Game 7 just because of the atmosphere. So I know that for sure. It kind of reminds me of Boulder, especially like the mountains being, right next to the city. So you always have a nice view. It's really easy to get around. It's a nice, nice little peaceful town. For me, it's kind of a place where I can really lock into basketball and work. So that was the biggest thing for me coming in as a rookie. So I love it out here so far.
Cody, David Locke, Jazz Radio. Watching some of your Colorado games, there were an occasional moment where you came off a pin down and burst, got to turn the corner and burst, but more often than not, there was a guy in the middle, pretty big guy. If I went back and watched your AAU game or some of your, what other parts of your game would I see that maybe I didn't get to see by watching you play at Colorado?
I mean, really, I was able to showcase everything, that I could bring to the table, and I feel like that's why I'm in this position. Especially, I went to a good system that, allowed me to play my game, and they highlighted my strengths and also helped me, develop my weaknesses. So for me, I feel like especially going to a school in a system that fit me the best, I was able to kind of showcase my all-around game.
Do you have a jersey number in mind or one you want to or think you're going to wear?
I'm 5, I believe, right? Yeah, I just came in, yeah, so there you go. I'm 5. I wanted a single digit, yeah, see, she got it. Yeah. I wanted a single digit number, just, I didn't want to, get 91 or, 99, so kept it at 5.
99 is the Jay Crowder.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Cody, Jeremiah Jensen, KSL Sports. I don't know if you have any relationships with any of the players currently on the roster, but there's a lot of young players on this roster. Are you excited to play with some of these guys, and what are your thoughts about this group and how much fun you can have playing with them and kind of growing up together on this roster?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with having a young roster is the locker room is going to be really close. You guys can kind of bond and connect and really, learn with each other as you go out through the season, go out through these next years. So for me, having a young roster, a lot of them I know. Like I know Keontae from AAU, Kessler from AAU, played against Isaiah Collier in the Pac-12, played against Kyle in AAU. So already having those connections allows you to make a really close locker room, and then that obviously translates to the court. So I think not only are we going to be really good and also learn a lot together, but it's going to be fun playing basketball with this group of guys.
For Justin, you've dealt with a lot of young players coming in with 1 year of college experience. How does Cody kind of differ from them? He seems mature, seems wiser beyond his years.
I think part of it's a credit, first and foremost, to his family. Done a great job raising him. Obviously, perspective with his older brother currently in the league. You just don't get a chance to get that growing up. It's not like every family that has an NBA player is running around with a very good NBA player who's an older brother or anything else. So I think that gives him a head start. Sorry. I also think he's smart. He's good at figuring things out and figuring things out quick. So we've already had conversations, Danny and myself, with Cody and kind of what the initial expectations are, and his perspective is absolutely correct for Summer League. Summer League is about the experience, about learning about the physicality, learning about the speed, and learning about, he knows what he needs to work on. We have a personalized plan for him that will help him make gains in those things, but a lot of it's just experience to go through it. Play good, play bad, just play hard. And take that and that experience and use that for the rest of the summer to really get ready for what's really important, and that's training camp. So this is an important experience for him, but it's not a be-all, end-all if he plays good or bad. I have no expectation about that. All I have an expectation is for him to start connecting with his teammates, our coaches, the program, and it's going to be a fun start.
Yeah, Isaiah, Jeff Rennie with Fox 13. What's this experience like? Your first practice today, you got your family over there with your NBA jerseys. Quite a day.
It's great. Definitely just being here in Utah, being here for the first time in Utah as well. So for me, I'm just having fun, taking it day by day, and just enjoying everything.
Dana Green with ABC4. On draft night, you expressed a little frustration of falling to number 29. A lot of guys use that as motivation. And do you already come into the league with kind of that chip on the shoulder to prove the other teams wrong?
It's just motivation just playing in the NBA alone. So, just, playing against, a great level of talent. That's a blessing in disguise already. So, for me, I have to prove myself regardless. And, I'm just happy to be in this situation.
Tony Jones from The Athletic. Being a guy such as yourself who likes to get downhill off the dribble, how do you think the spacing of the NBA that you're going to see translates to what you do in terms of the strengths of your game?
I think that would definitely just showing off my passing ability, just finding my bigs, finding shooters. And I think just keeping it simple is that. I mean, I think that would just show those type of abilities.
David Locke, Jazz Radio. How do you self-evaluate your single year at USC?
I mean, it was more like an up and down season. Didn't go the way we wanted it to go, but I mean, I wouldn't trade it for anything. I learned a lot as a player, and it's gonna help in the long run for me. So I mean, I definitely learned how to play that point guard position, at a high level, especially just being in college. It's not the same as other type of college. I mean, NBA or high school games. So I mean, not as much spacing, but I mean, just learn to just make simple plays, and I think that's gonna help me in the long run.
Hey, Isaiah, Ryan Miller from KSL.com. What are you expecting to get out of Summer League?
To definitely just compete. I mean, I think it's going to be simple as that, competing every single, time down the court. I think that's going to be the biggest thing.
Sarah Todd, Deseret News. Why do you think that the second half of your season at USC, you had so many improvements in different areas?
I definitely got to, see the game from a different perspective when I got hurt. So, I mean, just watching a lot of film, definitely just sitting on the sideline and be able to see my teammates from a different point of view, that definitely helped me in a way and helped me to the player I am now today. So, I mean, I see that it was really important, for me, and I'm looking forward to everything.
I'm sure that through the draft process, you heard that there were concerns and questions about your shooting and consistency. What is your reaction to kind of those questions?
I mean, I don't really, pay attention to it at all. I mean, I know, the work I put in and, the reps, I continue to work on. So, I mean, it's going to show.
I look at the game against Colorado where you play really well, especially down the stretches. One of the games where you kind of put it all together for an entire, 40 minutes. If you remember that game, what do you remember from that game? What did you take from that game? And just obviously playing against KJ Simpson and, other guys who ended up, being in the draft. What did you take from that experience, from that singular game?
I mean, we should have won for sure, but I mean, I definitely say, just going into double overtime. The fatigue played a factor for sure. I think I played like 40 minutes that game, something like that. But I mean, for me, it's just just making simple plays. I think that's what it was. I had like 9 assists that game, 1 turnover. I think that was one of my best passing games. So I mean, it just made the simple plays. Kept everything pretty easy. So yeah.
Andy Larson, Salt Lake Tribune. Who are the players that you like watching in the NBA and have liked watching growing up and as you improve as a player?
I mean, I wouldn't say anybody I compare myself to, but I definitely definitely like to watch Brunson, Anthony Edwards, Lil Kyrie as far as them getting downhill, and then a little bit of Ja Morant. So I'll definitely say those 4 the most, as far as just playing that PG spot.
You mentioned your relationship with Keontae George developed this summer or last summer. How did that develop, and what can you learn from him, who's going through a very similar situation last year that you're about to go through this year?
I mean, it was actually kind of crazy because, I kept asking him, I might need a shirt. I just kept telling him that the whole summer, end up being here. But, I mean, it's definitely great, just seeing Keontae just work every single day, at his craft, throughout the whole summer. And just seeing him, continue to get better every single day. He's going to be a great player for sure. So, I mean, it's definitely, good to learn from that as well. So, yeah.
What do you know of your fellow Jazz rookies, Kyle and Cody? You know them from past playing basketball. What do you think of that?
Played Cody a couple times this year. And, I'm real familiar with Kyle. So, I mean, I'm excited to play with them. I'm looking forward to it.
Isaiah, Craig Bowler-Jack, Utah TV, Jazz TV. First, I want your jacket on opening night. I don't know who your tailor is, but it looks good. Yeah, looks real good. Being the number 1 pick or the number 1 recruit of high school, that's stress. You playing with Bronny James, that's stress. You're the 29th pick. You wanted to be higher. Just how prepared are you mentally? I would think you would be a very mental alpha type of personality. What's your thought?
I mean, I'm ready for anything that comes my way. Simple as that. So, I mean, I just approach it the same way as, just going out there, compete, and just having fun. I mean, I think, I get to play basketball for a living. That's, that's a blessing already. And just, being able to, play the game every single day is fun. So, yeah.
Lemma Harrington, Jazz TV. To follow up on Craig's question, description, alpha type of player. A lot of young players in this locker room, and leadership. Oftentimes, leaders are born as opposed to built. Can you speak to how you approach leadership, what that looks like for you?
I mean, I think I play the hardest position on the floor. So, I mean, you got to be that coach on the floor. So, I mean, just being that PG, I mean, I think it starts with you as far as just being that leader. I think that's really important, you know. PG makes it, you got to know all 5 spots. So, I mean, that's a real big thing for me. You know, definitely learned that, you know, going through college. And, you know, I'm looking forward to it.
Isaiah, it's noticeable you've mentioned passing like 4 or 5 times. You have the best shake of, like, I think anyone in this draft on that crossover at the top or just any of the ball tightness in your dribble. How do you use that and yet at the same time, you know, make sure you're involving teammates and doing the passing you're mentioning?
I mean, just making the right play. I think that's, you know, what it is. I mean, for me, I'm going to always make the right play, keep it simple, and whatever I got to do to win, I mean, that's what it is.
It's for Justin. A lot of 19-year-olds come in and they need to put on weight. They need to put on muscle. Isaiah seems like he has an NBA body already. Where do you want to see him mature physically and mentally?
Yeah, we have a personalized plan for Isaiah. I think a lot of it is for him, you know, he's a junkie. He loves watching basketball. He's studied it. But just to go through the experience of just how fast and physically big and strong this league is, he's certainly equipped to step in that way because he's physically ready. But there's always improvements we can make because he's a young guy. And then let alone the player development part. It's probably going to be more involved in mechanics and footwork and really continuing to make sure, like, from a conditioning standpoint, that he can go long stretches, especially on both ends with our team, where, you know, with young guys on our team that trying to turn them into two-way players. Isaiah's got all the talent and physically and skill-wise to do that. Those are the most valuable players in our leagues, the guys that can play both ways. So there's enormous potential there, and we're going to help him unlock it.
Isaiah, is there a reason that you picked number 13?
Is there a reason? Nah, I mean, it was just available. So, yeah.
What, man? This ain't Costco.
Yeah, it was
I like it, though.
Yeah.
All good?
Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.